The shocking truth has been revealed on how the Pelicans and Zion Williamson plan to move into the future together, as Joe Dumars shares some comments about some harsh truths he told Zion. We're going to take a look at it and also take a look at the future with Zion and the Pelicans inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, everybody? It's your people, Melz On The MIC, back once again on this Sunday inside Pelicans Digest. And thank you once again for subscribing, man. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man. Go ahead and like the channel. Go ahead and do all of that, man, so you can be a part of what's going on here with Pelicans Digest. We give you the best analysis and opinions and daily updates on what's going on with the New Orleans Pelicans right here. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And, of course, yesterday was the Saints preseason game. And the Pelicans are now officially 60 days away from the start of the new season. And Joe Dumars popped up on the Saints telecast talking with Joe Myers about the upcoming season and was asked some questions about the future of the Pelicans this season with Zion Williamson. As you know, I have been complimentary about Joe Dumars, despite what the national media has put out there about, you know, questioning a lot of his moves. I'm a big fan of the moves. I like that he's aggressively rebuilding this roster to try to win this season and next season, all right? And a lot of people don't see the vision. All they see was what happened last year. Everybody knows that this team was riddled with injuries. But the season before that, that was a 49-50 win team. He still has a lot of the core pieces of that 50-win team. So when he comes in and he looks at this roster and says, okay, we can just, if we move here, we can possibly get back to that 50-win mark. A lot of people are lambasting a lot of his moves. I'm a big fan of the moves that he's got going on. But, of course, all of this is going to be contingent upon what happens with Zion Williamson this season and next season. And he was asked about that by Joe Myers in the Saints broadcast yesterday, and here's what he had to say about it. He says Zion is in really good shape, and he said that he has been challenging him. Like, quote, you can't keep doing the same things that you've done in the past and expect something different. He has stepped up to the challenge so far, and we're going to keep pushing him. And what that tells me is they have big plans for Zion playing in a lot of games this season. There is not going to be any excuses. They're planning on having him play a lot of games this season because if you recall last season, you know, there was a lot of reports saying that he could have played way more than 50 games, but David Griffin was possibly holding him back as possible trade bait or to keep his value up just in case they wanted to trade him. So they hear this from Joe Dumars saying that this sounds good. This is, even though it's fan talk, in my opinion, I think it's something more to try to get tickets to be sold. A lot of us in the fan base are sort of, depending on where you sit at, are sort of at the break-even point with the Zion experiment. It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years. How many more years y'all want to wait? All right? How many more years y'all want to wait on this? That's my question. How many more years are we supposed to wait? And it's going to come down to this season and next season because you have him on basically a guaranteed contract this season, and next season you have the option to not even deal with this contract, or you can pick it up and try again, especially if you see how the season turns out. But we're going to get into that in a minute. I'm going to get into that in a minute because I'm going to be consistent in saying this over and over again, that this team is being built to win these next 2 seasons. And if you don't pull it off, you already started the rebuild. You already got the core pieces to start a rebuild, and there's only going to be 2 players from this that's going to be left over. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. But he also, in that interview with Joe Myers, gave an update on Derik Queen's current situation after he got injured during Summer League. So in that update, he went on to say that Queen is doing well. They're training him big time. And I've said to him, you have a hand situation here, but that doesn't stop your legs. So he is running. I want you to be in incredible shape when you come back or you'll be behind. And listen, when we saw him in Summer League, we saw that he was very slow on a lot of things. You saw this. If you watch Summer League games, you saw that Queen was very slow getting up on down on that court. He's going to have to get that conditioning up to play these NBA minutes. So, again, another good sign that he's developing and not just telling them, hey, just rest your hand. We need you back in your hand. No, he needs to get his conditioning up. And you saw that in Summer League. it's good to hear that Dumars and them are on top of that, telling them, hey, get your conditioning up. It's just your hand. So that's good to see as well. But here's the thing, though. And it's good that they're telling them this for this reason. Because if anything, Queen could be is going to be the next part of the so-called rebuild of the Pelicans after these next 2 seasons. And I know y'all keep wondering why am I hung up on these 2 seasons, because I've said it again. The way this roster is that what you brought into this roster was a whole lot more younger talent that could complement Zion Williamson and what he has right now. Done all the years of recycling these old 30-plus-year-old vets to try to get some wisdom, I guess, or something into Zion. You have now a younger roster and a younger core that should be healthier and should be able to maintain longer. So with Queen, yes, continue to take that time to develop the other aspects of his game instead of sitting there waiting on him to rehab his hand to get back into it. Now, we're taking a two-pronged approach here with how this team is going to move into the future. So that's why I'm applauding Joe Dumars and a lot of the moves that he's making right now, because I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something, and you got to listen to me when I point this out to you. What I got on the screen right now is the Pelicans salary cap table for the next 3 seasons. Now, in that first row, you see that's all this season. It stops at Mike Peavy. The season after, not this season, but next season, you're only going to have Looney, who's going to be on a team option, Jordan Hawkins, who, like we said before, could be possible trade bait this season. You also got Jose Alvarado with an option. E. Missy, option. Carlo Makovic, option. All of those are options going into the second season. So a lot of those guys are going to get hopefully some minutes this season. But take a look at that third column with all the blue, the green, and the red in it. That's after these 2 seasons. That's after these 2 seasons. Zion's contract is not guaranteed. Everybody else on this roster, with the exception of Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones Jr., is going to be either a restricted free agent or the team's going to have an option on him. Which leads me back to what I said before. The future of this team after these 2 seasons will not be Zion Williamson. The future of this team, the 2 seasons after this, will be Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III. Especially if Herb continues to elevate his game. So again, don't get mad at me because I'm looking down the line. I'm not just looking at this season. I'm looking at the long-term sustainability of this franchise winning. Because I don't want us to keep going. If you're a fan of this team, you shouldn't want this team to keep going one and dones. Ones and done, or one and done in the postseason. Come back the next season, everything falls apart, and then we got to try to start this all over again. I am this two-pronged approach, which is you are building with Zion Williamson now with enough talent to have no excuses. This is also why he got rid of that first-round draft pick for Queen. Because there's going to be no excuses. Y'all have got to win now. That's what Joe Dumars is saying. Y'all have got to win now, this season and next season. So y'all got to win now. Because if you don't, then, hey, we got a ton of options to blow this whole thing up and start from scratch all over again. Ton of options. And it includes some of y'all. Sending y'all all somewhere else. So, again, while it's good to hear that Zion, and again, I'll say this again for those who don't understand. I believe Zion's going to have a breakthrough performance this year. I believe he's going to have an all-star performance this year. And if he does well enough, I think he could get some MVP talk, depending on how far this team goes. And it has to be done this season if he wants to see that next big contract. If he wants to see the next big contract. Because no one's going... If Zion Williamson gets hurt this season or next season, no one's going to spend Supermax money on him. Nobody. So as the Pelicans, it is your duty and your responsibility to maximize that asset right now. You have to maximize that asset as much as possible right now. Because at the end of the day, in 2 years, you're going to lose them for nothing. So maximize that asset now. But I'm telling y'all, and I keep saying this before, based on what I've seen on social media and everywhere else, they are building this future around Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones. And also when you start hearing about how the Warriors and the Spurs are trying to get their hands on Murphy, That's a whole different video right there, and we're going to talk about that one possibly tomorrow. So, in the meantime, what are your thoughts on what Joe Dumars had to say about Zion Williamson? What are your thoughts on my consistent angle that this team is only going to be built, this team is built to win for this season and next season, and if it doesn't work out, you're done with the Zion project. You're done with that, because then you're giving him 6 to 7 seasons. You're giving this man almost half a decade to try to bring this team into a winning situation. What are your thoughts on that? Clap back with your thoughts. Like, subscribe, comment, do everything you got to do so you can be a part of what's going on here at Pelicans Digest, because you know what it is. It's Melz talking about them pels. I'll holler at you later, baby.